Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 7 of DNA Film Wars. This is our discussion episode about Bohemian Rhapsody, the upcoming Queen biopic, or Freddie Mercury biopic. They're biopicking somebody, I don't know. This film is directed by Bryan Singer of X-Men fame.
What a guy.
Written by Anthony McCartan, who is the writer of Darkest Hour and Theory of Everything.
Both of which weren't bad movies.
Yeah, among other things. Starring Rami Malek, Lucy Boynton, Joseph Mazzello, and Mike Myers.
Oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy. And so Dylan, what are your thoughts on this movie?
I'm overall pretty excited for it. I'm excited to see, the kind of the backstory of Queen, which is what I've heard it's supposed to be more a biopic about Queen than Freddie Mercury himself. I mean, obviously we're going to focus on Freddie a lot because he's the front man. He's the most, popular and probably most influential person out of that entire group. I'm interested to see what they can do with it. Bryan Singer, I think from what I read, he directed 2/3 of the movie, and they got down to about the last month or two of principal photography, and he had to step down from the project for some reason. And they brought in the original director that they had signed on before Bryan Singer signed on to finish it out. But we'll see how that plays out. I'm really excited for Rami Malek's performance as Freddie Mercury. I'm thinking that he's going to do a really good job with it. So we'll see how it goes. What do you thought so far?
Yeah, I'll say about the same thing. I have heard that this movie was kind of hamstrung because they needed the surviving members of Queen to kind of sign off of it. So maybe they treat the other members of Queen pretty well in this movie. Seeing Bryan Singer attached to this movie, on the one hand, it kind of makes me excited. On the other hand, it kind of makes me nervous. He has kind of an up and down record. Obviously, his first 2 X-Men films are great.
Well, he didn't do the third one.
I know. That's
fair.
Let me finish. The first 2 X-Men films are great. Days of Future Past is great, and X-Men First Class is good. Then you have X-Men Apocalypse, which is not good. And so I mean, obviously everything that he touches doesn't automatically turn to gold.
If I'm not mistaken, Bryan Singer also directed that movie that came out in 2006 called Superman Returns.
Yes, he did. That movie's not good either. So, like I said, he's not perfect, but he does have the potential to make a good film. And like you said, I don't know how much of this is his vision, his project, but we'll see how that goes. I am excited to see Anthony McCartan, who I have seen Darkest Hour, and that's a well-written film, so I'm excited to see what he's got to bring to the table. Rami Malek, I have not watched much of his work. I know he's mostly famous for a show called Mr. Robot. I haven't watched any of it, but apparently he does a pretty good job in it. But I have seen him in a couple things, and he was good in them. So we'll see how that goes. Mike Myers, I don't know how big of a role he plays in it. Probably not very big. Obviously Mike Myers is Mike Myers.
I think he plays one of their managers at some point.
Yeah, I think he does too. We'll see. We'll see how he does.
He's Mike Myers.
He's Mike Myers. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not a huge Queen fan. Pop quiz: how many Queen band members can you name?
Probably 2: Brian May and Freddie Mercury.
Well, that's one more than I can name. So there you go. So I'm not a huge Queen fan, but I do listen to. I've probably listened to most of their music, and I like it. I can listen.
I can dig it sometimes.
I mean, yeah, they got some of the most iconic songs they've ever written out there. So I mean,
absolutely. Tell you something that was really cool when I was at school up at OSU. First game of the season, season opener against Tulsa last year. They did a Queen show, and it was a really cool time. It was really cool. I liked it a lot.
That's cool.
With that being said,
we're gonna rank our top 5 Queen songs, and I'm gonna hand it over to Dylan for his number 5.
Right, so we're not gonna get into these a whole lot. We're just kind of pretty much gonna list them. So at my number 5, I have an iconic song. Another One Bites the Dust. That opening bass line is superb.
Yeah, Dylan's a bit of a musician here. I'm not, so he probably knows a lot more than I do about these things. But at number 5, I have, of course, the classic "We Are the Champions." It's a nice song. It gets crowds pumped up. Is what it is. It's pretty short. I think it's only clocks in at like a minute 30 or something.
It's a short one,
but can't go wrong.
All right. Well, coming at my number 4, may not be everyone's favorite. I've always got a kick out of this song just because of the subject matter and the title of it. It really cracks me up because of Freddie Mercury being, bi or whatever he was. Fat Bottom Girls cracks me up every time I hear it.
Yeah, that is a pretty funny song. At number 4, I have another one, Bites the Dust. I really like that song. It's really entertaining. So move on. Number 3.
At my number 3, I have your number 5, We Are the Champions. It's just it's an iconic song, and then everyone's got to play it when they win their big sporting title or championship event.
Yeah. At number 3, I have I Want It All. I really like that song. I think it'd probably be a good theme song for this movie coming out about how they wanted it all and how that worked out for them. But I don't know. They probably played it at some point in the movie. I haven't watched it yet, obviously. But anyway.
All right. At my number 2, I have a classic stadium anthem, which is Anthem, a classic stadium anthem that everyone knows, and that's We Will Rock You. It's always a good time, especially when you get that stomp and clap going. So.
Yeah, for my number 2, I have the namesake of this movie, Bohemian Rhapsody. I think probably their most popular song worldwide. Probably their most popular track they put out there. It's an entertaining time. For the longest time, this is gonna make me sound stupid, but for the longest time, I thought it was Bohemian Rhapsody, like RAP space CITY.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out that a rhapsody was a type of song.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it's very weird. It's very experimental. They do a lot of weird noises and stuff in there, but it's Queen at their best, I guess.
Well, I got Bohemian Rhapsody at my number 1. I love everything about this song, from the beginning to the operatic section, as they're going to call it in the movie, which, I mean, it is an operatic section. It's a fun time. And I really love the ending of it, because, I can just see the guitarist just headbanging during that end part of the song, and it kills me. I really love this song. It's great.
Yeah, for my number 1, I have the We Will Rock You. I don't know. There's just something about that song that I just love, and the simplicity of it, but yet it's just super entertaining. So anyway, now that we got the music out of the way, I know we're a podcast about movies.
So we got to obviously talk about that.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to top 5 musicals / music focused films. So I'll start again with Dylan at number 5. What you got?
All right, number 5. I have a classic. It's going to be Rocky Horror Picture Show. The first time I remember hearing about this movie was actually during a movie that I listed in my top 5 favorite films of all time, which was Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's the first time I'd ever really heard about the movie, and my mom told me about it and told me what it was. Kind of a Frankenstein story, and it's a really fun time. I watched it for the first time on Halloween about 3 years ago, and I really enjoyed it. Music is a fun time. Tim Curry's performance is amazing as Dr. Frankenfurter. Susan Sarandon's in it, and she does a pretty good job in the movie too as Janet. Like I said, music is great. I actually had the privilege of getting to see this in what they call like a semi-live production, where they have a live cast who acts out certain scenes of the movie with the movie playing behind them. I had the privilege of getting to see that at OSU last Halloween. It was really cool to see. The entire theatricality of it and everything that plays into that movie is a really fun time, and that's got to be my number 5 is Rocky Horror.
All right, yeah, at number 5, I've got A Star Is Born, the new one with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. I'm not going to say that I love this movie. I have it on here, honestly, mostly because I don't watch a lot of musicals, so I was scrounging around for picks. But, I will say, despite my personal feelings about the movie, I mean, it is well acted. It is well directed. It's pretty to look at. The soundtrack's amazing. It's just not really my type of movie. I don't usually watch romantic movies like that. And I do think it has pacing issues, but we may talk about that in another review at some point. But I'm going to go ahead and put it at my number 5.
All right. Well, I got A Star Is Born at my number 4. I personally really enjoyed this movie a lot. I enjoy the acting of the movie. Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper's performances both are great. Sam Elliott does a great job in the movie. The one scene that Dave Chappelle is in is some of the best acting, if not the best acting that I've ever seen him give. And Andrew Dice Clay, who is also a comedian, he gives a pretty good dramatic performance in this as well. So overall, the acting of that movie is great. Bradley Cooper for a directorial debut. This is a real winner for me. I mean, if he doesn't get nominated for a Best Director Academy Award, I'm gonna be personally upset, because I think his direction of the movie was really well. Though it's a story that's been told many a times. I mean, it's an addiction story about addiction and people overcoming their problems. I think it's told really well and from a good perspective, especially adding that music aspect in there. And Bradley Cooper and all of his hard work that he put in, 18 months of of vocal lessons and guitar lessons from Willie Nelson's son Lucas, learning how to play guitar for this movie, and him and Lady Gaga and Lucas Nelson and even Mark Ronson helped write some of the music for this movie. They all worked on it together. The soundtrack for this movie is great, and overall I really enjoy it. There's just some that gotta beat it out for me for what they are, so I'm gonna put it at number 4.
All right, yeah, my number 4, I'm going to go with the classic, The Beauty and the Beast, not the Emma Watson version. I haven't actually sat down and watched that. The classic cartoon, obviously we've all seen it probably 100 times. Classic story of the Beauty and the Beast. It's just great. It's Disney at their best. I'm not going to say it's my favorite Disney cartoon I've ever watched, but it's definitely up there, and there's a lot of great music in it too. So, number 4.
All right, coming at number 3 for me is another classic, and that's going to be Grease. My mom showed me this movie when I was a kid, and I loved it from the first time I saw it. John Travolta is John Travolta as John Travolta can be in this movie, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then Olivia Newton-John is in this movie as well, and she also gives a really good performance. The music in this movie is a good time, and for when this movie came out in the 70s, some of the dialogue and the songs in the movie are kind of raunchy to risque for a PG rating when this movie came out, but overall I really enjoy it, and it'll be one of my favorites for forever.
Yeah, for my number 3, I'm going to go with the classic, The Sound of Music. I didn't think that I would ever enjoy this film, but I actually sat down and watched it in my music appreciation class in high school, and I really enjoyed it. The backdrop of the World War II really works for it, and this young woman, she goes and she pretty much is hired on as a nanny for this rich guy's kids, and of course her and the rich guy end up falling in love and traversing the dangers of I believe it's set in Austria.
Austria, yeah.
Yeah, set in Austria, and the dangers of all the political turmoil and stuff going on in Austria at the time. And it's actually a really affecting drama, and especially for a film made in the 1940s.
40s or 50s, somewhere around there.
40s. I'm not sure, but it's and it's got some classic, super memorable songs, and it's actually a really good time.
All right, well, I got your number 3 at my number 2, The Sound of Music. Everything you said is 100% accurate. The World War II backdrop in Austria's German-occupied Austria at the time is really, really cool backdrop for the movie. The music is iconic, and everyone will always remember those songs. Julie Andrews' performance is definitely the standout of this movie, and it is, I'd venture to say, behind Mary Poppins as her most iconic role, right behind Mary Poppins. So,
yeah, definitely.
It's a really good movie, and I also was showed this movie when I was a kid. This one I was showed by my grandmother when I was very young, and I almost have watched it around every Christmas time since, and my mom is such a big fan of it. When Carrie Underwood did the live performance on NBC, we watched it together, Jesus. And it was also pretty good. So
what?
I really enjoyed The Sound of Music, and it's my number 2.
Okay. Well, at number 2, I have Little Shop of Horrors. This movie does a really great time with the singing plant, and
that's one I've actually never seen.
I've actually never seen 2 years that you've mentioned, Rocky Horror Picture Show and Grease. That's probably why they're not on my top 5. But yeah, I'm going to go Little Shop of Horrors. I think, I haven't watched Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think it's a very similar style movie as the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like I said, they got a lot of goofy stuff in it, but the song they sing in it, Little Shop of Horrors, will be stuck in your head forever. So it's a really memorable movie, and it's a really fun time.
All right, well, capping off my top musical/music related films is gotta be Whiplash. Came out a few years ago, directed by Damien Chazelle, starring Miles Teller and co-starring J.K. Simmons, who won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. They both do a fantastic job in this movie. J.K. Simmons in particular does an outstanding job as Fletcher in the movie, and it is...
He didn't talk about how much he hated Spider-Man?
He did not talk about how much he hated Spider-Man. He was actually really effective as the character he played. He's kind of, he's a hard ass is what he is, and he really harps on Miles Teller's character, Andrew Neiman, in the movie, and there are some really riveting scenes in the movie that just really get you. It's a good dramatic piece, and it would work on every level as a standalone movie, but the music aspect thrown into it for me, because I personally play instruments and grew up around music, really adds an extra layer of enjoyment to this movie. And that final scene keeps me on the edge of my seat every time I watch it. Even though there's not much to it, it's just Miles Teller playing the drums, which he actually plays the drums in real life, and he played the drums for this movie. Every time I watch that last scene, it gets me.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched that one either. So at number 1, let me spell it out for you. Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, this one's on the top of my list. Probably more nostalgic and state pride reasons than anything else. It's a great musical. It's just a good old classic fun time. Actually, Hugh Jackman is in that movie somewhere.
Not the original, but Hugh Jackman did star in it on Broadway. That's where he got his start.
Yeah. So
I don't know if I've ever told you this. I actually was in Oklahoma the musical when I was in 7th grade when I went to school in Arkansas. I got to be cowboy. His name was Fred.
Oh boy.
He was like the third most important.
He
was
the third. We are not from the north, I promise.
He was the third most important cowboy in the movie, right behind Will and Curly. So.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma as my number 1. So I think that concludes our top 5 list. So we're gonna go ahead and move into our movie news. First big news relating to the movie that we reviewed last week, Halloween. Jamie Lee has said that she will come back for Halloween if David Gordon Green directs. How do you feel about that?
I like that idea. Do I wish that they weren't making a sequel? Kinda. I wish they would have done something different with the first one. But we've already talked about that, so I'm not going to get into that a whole lot. But, I mean, I feel like if Jamie Lee comes back, they have a really good opportunity to make the movie that they should have made and focus more on her as a character. David Gordon Green, for the most part, did a really good job with Halloween, and I'd like to see what he could do with the second one. I think that they should get a better, more seasoned writer for the movie, though, that really has done horror and knows those tropes, but how to work them the correct way and make them original, especially in the time that we live in with oversaturation of garbage horror movies being thrown at us. I'd like to see it be really good. The one that we just got was overall pretty good, and I'd like to see the second one be better.
Yeah, I agree. The sequel thing doesn't bother me. I mean, Halloween's one of those franchises. This is never going to die. They're going to make sequels till the end of time. So if you're going to make a sequel, might as well bring back, Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers. I do think it's an opportunity for them to capitalize on these elements that they failed to capitalize on this last movie. We talked about it, my problems with the movie. I'm afraid, though. I mean, I'm afraid because if David Gordon Green, who I'm sure will return, and Danny McBride, who is obviously one of the main driving forces behind these projects, will both return. I'm sure they'll still have the granddaughter character, probably Judy Greer if they can get her back too. I really wish. I was not fully satisfied with that final confrontation between Jamie and Michael. I maybe we'll get another one that's better written. I agree with you. They need someone, maybe like a James Wan type, that can come in and do some. I mean, I'm not saying fire Danny McBride and everybody else and David Gordon Green on writing the script, but they can write the script outline maybe, and then have James Wan come in and look at it and do some minor rewrites to kind of spice it up a little bit. But or someone not necessarily someone with history in horror, but just someone with a history in drama. I mean, I know that David Gordon Green's done some art films. Yeah, before he got into the stoner comedies with Seth Rogen and James Franco, I know he did some more dramatic stuff. But someone who can do the dramatic stuff, because I really feel like they need a really good dramatic writer for some of those scenes between Michael and Jamie Lee. And her and Laurie Strode dealing with the trauma of Michael. I don't feel like they fully were able to flesh that out in that last film. But like I said, overall, I am excited. I'll go watch it. I'll probably
of course, we'll definitely go watch it.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. So I'm excited about that. Moving on to a movie on the opposite end of the spectrum, SpongeBob 3. It is being announced as coming sometime in 2020.
The real question is, why are we getting a third SpongeBob movie?
Because that last one was a big hit, even though it wasn't that great of a movie.
I love SpongeBob. Grew up on
I love SpongeBob too. They're saying it's going to be a quote-unquote origin movie. I think it's going to be like some kind of story, like they're at some summer camp when they were kids and they all meet each other. My big exciting thing is Hans Zimmer is signed on to do the score. I don't know how.
Love that guy.
Yeah, that's a weird. I mean, I'm not
And
complaining.
Hans Zimmer has done
I'm
animated movies, but I mean, I feel like
Yeah, he
that's a
did
little out of his.
He co-composed
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda, which has some lighter-hearted stuff that I could kind of see in SpongeBob movie, but there's also some big orchestral themes in Kung Fu Panda too.
Yeah, SpongeBob is kind of, I feel like, a little out of, what I would consider his comfort zone. I mean,
Yeah,
it's animated, but it's
goofy.
It's goofy.
The one thing that I am not looking forward to, they have confirmed that it will be, or at least I think the CEO or president or whatever of Paramount has said that it will be a fully 3D animated CGI film. I guess kind of like they did at the end of the SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water, which it looked bad.
So no David Hasselhoff or anything like that. No people.
God, I hope not. Yeah, that looked bad. So he said that they're going to do it because he doesn't feel like 2D animated films draw a big enough audience to the theater, which I agree with him that we don't see a lot anymore. I think, I did see Teen Titans, which flopped at the box office, but I think that had to do with more of the marketing of the movie than the fact that people didn't want to see a 2D animated movie. I thought it was a good movie. But that does disappoint me. As a fan of SpongeBob, I'd much rather see the classic 2D animation than this 3D CGI crap. But
it is what it is. I mean,
I'm
sure it'll be a fun time. I mean, it's SpongeBob after all. We grew up on it, so
yeah. What did you think about? Quick overview of the first two films. What did you think about them?
First one's a classic for me when it came out in 2004.
I love the first
Absolutely loved it. And I mean, the Now That We're Men whole song and, musical number is great.
There's a lot of adult humor in that first
film. There is a lot of adult humor in that movie. And it's really funny going back and watching it.
And that's not even the best musical number. The parody of I Wanna Rock, the I'm a Goofy Goober,
I'm a Goofy Goober is amazing. That's
one of the best parodies I've ever heard in my life.
I'm a Goofy Goober at the end of the movie is even better. Because they sing it earlier in the movie.
Oh, yeah, they sing it at the bar. But I was talking about, at the end when he breaks out the guitar. And he's
fishnet leggings.
And Goober, yeah.
The second one, though, I've only seen it once, actually. I've seen the first one on numerous occasions, but I've only seen the second one time. It's okay.
Yeah, I've actually only seen the first one the second one all the way through one time when I went and saw it in theaters. It's okay. The first 2/3 or whatever are somewhat entertaining. The last third of it,
then they become superheroes.
Yeah, that's all bad. But some of the jokes in the first 2/3. My favorite line is, "Welcome to the apocalypse, Mr. Squidward. I hope you like leather." That's great. And they do like this whole Mad Max parody thing. It's pretty good. But like I said, I love the first. I love the TV show. Sadly, it kind of took the Simpsons route after they made their feature-length movie. The show went downhill. The difference is that Simpsons immediately tanked after the first movie. I thought SpongeBob was more of a decline. Gradual decline.
Every once in a while, you still get a decent SpongeBob episode.
Yeah, every once in a while they'll put one out.
Nothing beats those classic episodes pre 2004. So
yeah. So moving on from SpongeBob, how about this new Liam Neeson
Cold Pursuit?
Maybe Cold Pursuit. First we had Taken, then we had Taken on a Plane, then we had Taken on a Train. Now we have Taken
on a snowplow. That's gonna be. I'll tell you what it's gonna be. It's gonna be bad.
I don't know. Maybe
it's gonna be bad, but it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, I just love Liam Neeson.
Oh, you gotta love Liam Neeson.
Fan.
You know what aggravates me?
What?
We talked about this the other day on the Widows trailer. Everyone gets credited as Academy Award nominee or Academy Award winner, or Golden Globe nominee. Liam Neeson just gets Liam Neeson.
I'm like, he's Academy Award nominated.
He's an Academy Award nominated actor for Schindler's List
for Best Actor. Give him credit where credit is due.
Yeah, he is a talented man. Okay.
Yeah.
He may have made 3 Taken movies and Taken on a Plane and Taken on a Train. And we don't talk about that right now. But he has done other good things.
Yeah.
But this will be a fun time.
I love his movie. Oh, I forget what it's called all of a sudden. The one where he's in the Canada fighting the wolves or whatever.
Oh, The Grey. That's actually
a great
movie.
That's a really good movie. People should check that out if they haven't seen it. And like I said, he's capable of making good movies. And I don't know how this one's going to turn out. This one looks like it's going to be played a little more for action comedy than some of his previous ones.
Maybe. We'll see.
If you see the trailer, that's what they kind of.
Amy Rosen's going to be in it too. She usually does pretty good. She's really good in Shameless.
Laura Dern. Don't forget about Laura Dern.
Laura Dern is in the movie.
Yeah, I don't like
we
Laura
don't
Dern.
care about Laura
Yeah.
Dern. But she's in there.
But she's there. She's his wife, I think. So moving on from that, speaking of big actors,
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock is going to be in
A movie called Bird Box.
a Netflix original called Bird Box. And essentially, it is
A
a
Quiet
quiet place, but instead of not being able to make any noise, you can't look. You have to blindfold yourself because...
What a concept.
Yeah, these things are like apparently there's these creatures and they're kind of like Pennywise in that they take on your worst fear.
And they'll kill you.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like a post-apocalyptic movie, kind of like a quiet. It's ripped off A Quiet Place. I'm gonna say it right now from the trailer. It's a Quiet Place cash grab rip off.
This movie's gonna be bad.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock. She's a talented actress.
She's done some.
She's been in some bad movies, but she's been in some good movies
too. She is
too.
an Academy Award winner.
Academy Award. They say that in the trailer. Academy Award winning actress.
Sandra Bullock. The Blind Side.
It also has Sarah Paulson in it.
I like Sarah Paulson.
It has
who else is in that movie?
What's his name?
Yeah, I know that guy.
The guy with the Russian sounding name.
Yeah, I know that guy.
John Malkovich.
Oh, John Malkovich is in it. Yeah,
I love John Malkovich. He's always entertaining. I feel like there's someone else
at the screen.
I'm missing out on. But anyway, there's some talent in that movie.
There's some talent in that movie, but
and
that
we
movie's
know
gonna be bad.
Netflix movies, I don't think have a great track record, but
They're hit or miss.
They throw a lot of money behind them. So we'll see how that goes. So
it'll be interesting to say the least.
It will be. It will definitely be interesting.
So let's talk about what we got. We'll talk about what we got coming up soon.
Yep. So next weekend we should have or I guess it'll be this weekend by the time this episode comes out.
That's fair.
We have a review for Bohemian Rhapsody coming out.
Really looking forward to that one.
Then the following weekend we have at least one review coming out. It'll be for Overlord. Hopefully two if we get around to seeing Girl in the Spider's Web.
And if you're really, really lucky, maybe 3 because we might throw in a bonus episode of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to get to that. Really hoping to get. We'll see. We'll see if we have time to get around doing that.
What are we gonna do about next week's discussion for Overlord?
We'll talk about Overlord is going to be our primary focus. We might throw in a top 5 related to Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, or Girl in the Spider's Web.
We could do since it is a zombie-related movie. We could do
top 5 zombie films. We are going to do top 5 zombie films. I have to see all the zombie films I've watched, but
that's true.
I haven't seen all the major ones, but
we might throw in TV shows in there. You can include The Walking Dead if you want.
Nah, I think we'll skip out on TV shows.
That's fair.
Walking Dead has tanked the last couple of years,
okay.
Yeah. So
we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about top 5 female-driven action films. I don't know. We'll see.
Could do that.
We'll see. Anyway, I think that's all we have for you, unless Dylan has anything else to add.
Always, our social media plugs at DNA Film Wars, all lowercase, no space on all social media platforms.
Yeah, if you have a specific question and or comment, you can contact us at dnafilmwars@gmail.com. We are up on all major podcatching apps that I am aware of, so you should
pretty much anything that you can think of that has a podcast on it. You can probably find us there.
You can probably find us
as well as YouTube. So
you are of course welcome to leave us a rating, good or bad.
We're definitely open to constructive criticism.
Yes, I would very much like to hear some constructive criticism. So with all that being said, thank you for listening. I've been Aaron.
I've been Dylan. We'll see you next time.